to the Warzone Amateur Hour podcast.
All right, welcome back to the Warzone Amateur Hour podcast. This is episode number 112, and it seems like it was quite a week of filling up for the Tronster, whereas the Cowboy MIA from Al Mazrah due to some other commitments. But with that said, quite a bit happened since we last spoke with y'all, particularly some fixes we've been dying for literally since the beginning of Warzone 2. But before we dive into that and more, I will turn to you, the 10-inch Cowboy, and ask you, though it was little, how was your week in the Warzone?
Yes, it was quite the slow week for me in the Warzone. I did just get some in just now with you before we recorded this. So that was the first time I'd played in a while. I was out of town for a business engagement. Let's just put it that way. Signing big deals, cashing big checks. But yeah, so it was fun. I'm basically here. I'm going to just be like, you're going to be riding that motorcycle and I'm going to be in the little sidecar and I'm just going to be listening to you talk to this today.
Just along for the ride.
Just along for the ride today, yeah. But I did get to play. I was hitting in some incredible snipe shots. It was great time, but and you know, I didn't notice anything too apparently different, except you did tell me to change my loadout perk preferences, which I'm sure we're going to dive into. So other than that, very slow week for me in the Warzone. How was your week?
Yeah, you say the word slow. I don't know about speed, if I could evaluate that, but in terms of like depth and volume, this week was jam-packed for me, the Tronster, and in terms of quality, right up there with any week in any iteration of Warzone for the Tronster. Literally, I would say got 10 plus victories at least over the course of the week, and damn near in every single team configuration, but I'll talk a little bit more about that. And among this like victory streak, Cowboy, I think you were following along in our chat, we were chasing a nuke. Where I was on a morning session, we got 3 wins in a row. I had to hop off. By the time I came back, they had gotten that 4th win, so I played in our game where it would have been our 5th win, which would have unlocked the nuke game. Unfortunately, we fell short, but like to be knocking on the doorstep of, we can call it like Oppenheimer's basement there. Pretty wild stuff. So hell of a week for me in the Warzone.
What happened in that last game? Did you blow it?
Well, I wasn't taking the lead on strategery, and had I been,
wow.
Of all the games, to me, that's the one you want to play tight. You're playing solely for the victory, but we had some sweat lords in the team, some of which you have butted heads with in the past. I will not name names. And they insist on dropping Observatory every frickin' round. So we dropped Observatory and collectively got our asses kicked. All 4 of us died. I think half of us got out of the gulag, half did not. And it was like we just could not regame, could not reset, fell short. But again, to be in that situation, pretty wild.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, you got to adapt and change your strategy when the time is right. But I guess we're just amateurs, so we don't really know,
Yeah, I mean, it's all right. We know we can get there, so we'll see. I'm frightened of the day if it ever comes. We do unlock the nuke game because it sounds like that's just insanity. I've been in a few matches where there were people chasing a nuke, which that was a new thing. They are marked on the map permanently, like a permanent most wanted contract. Still don't understand how people are completing that shit out there. But yeah, I mean, I'm locking in here. I really love if they were doing the stats because my KD is escalating. Let's just say that.
Wow. What do you think your KD is? 0.4, 0.5?
It's definitely over 1. I might be like scratching the 2.0 mark here.
I highly doubt it. Highly Doubt it.
All right, well, we'll see, man. I got a clip going out scheduled for tomorrow. After, if you're listening to this on day of release, it should be going live tomorrow morning. But that said, before I regale you with any more personal tales, let's just dive into the biggest news of the week, something we've been tracking, trying to unravel this ball of yarn mystery that is perks not working. We posted the most popular theory, or shared the most popular theory last episode, that it was tied to standalone games. And since that time, we've heard some pushback from listeners disputing that. But nobody had an answer, and thankfully, nobody fucking cares anymore, because, let me look the exact date here, with finally Raven on January the 10th issued the patch we had all been waiting for, in which they issued a fix addressing ultimate perks, including high alert, from working as intended. So now, when you get your custom loadout, you don't got to do the default ones. You get the custom loadout, you get the perks. I can confirm high alert 100% now working as a custom loadout.
Wow, that's exciting. Is it like Christmas in your house right now? They finally fixed it?
I mean, there's jingle bells in the background. It's kind of sad because, like, this is such a basic feature, but it really has simplified the game and made it way more enjoyable and, like, rewarding to get your loadout. Now it's like I killed the two birds with one stone. I get the custom gun and the perks. I don't have to do this weird switcheroo shit or, like, have a crisis. What am I going to do? Do I have the money to buy both my guns? All that crap. No longer there. They also fixed, not on the agenda, but during the week, they fixed the issue with the pricing being bugged in trios for the loadout, so it's now correctly $24,000. So buying a loadout, back when we first talked about it, jury was still out at the Tron courthouse. The jury has now adjourned, and they have issued the verdict that they are massively in favor of them adding that ability to buy loadouts with the tiered price levels. Big fan of that. That's my verdict.
Cool. Yeah, I noticed we were able to buy a loadout for a reasonable price today when we were in there. So that's good that that's fixed. But Bird's Eye.
Yeah, that's...
Bird's Eye.
He's just going to tee it up with one word, Bird's Eye. So yeah, as soon as this patch hit, I'm like, oh, great, goody. I can get my high alert. All my loadouts had already had the high alert perk set, where the fast hands high alert were like the two main ones you get from it. I'm loving it. I'm getting the high alert. But then in my spare time, I'm watching some streamers, watching Dr. Disrespect playing with Z Laner, and I'm looking at his tac map, and I notice it's blipping UAVs for like what seemed like an eternity, well beyond, like, it was clear they hadn't called a UAV. So my spidey sense starts tingling. I'm wondering what the hell's going on here. Is this that old Bird's Eye thing? And sure enough, I hear him talking to Doc. He's like, get your loadout. You need Bird's Eye. I pause the frame to see which loadout he picks. He picks ones with Bird's Eye. So I realized, wow, it looks like you can now run that again. And it is still broken. Did some testing. You saw it firsthand playing today. That is the meta move if you're out there. Bird's Eye is still broken. So if you equip the custom perk package with Bird's Eye, you're going to get a fuck ton of UAVs.
Yeah, it's basically nonstop, But we realized that that's an interesting dynamic happening right now, because when someone on the map pops a UAV, it automatically triggers your immediate TACMAC UAV, right? But what's happening, if we buy a UAV and we're like, oh, we want to see what's going on, that will then, and if we see somebody near us, you have to assume that it's also alerting their personal UAV because they're running Bird's Eye. So it's this weird cat and mouse game right now of if you want to be popping UAVs or not.
Yeah, it is weird because, as always, the double-edged sword in this game, if there's an exploit and you're taking advantage of it, you got to realize the majority of players out there are doing the same. So like you said, you're kind of deterred from buying UAVs when you have Bird's Eye, because when you use them, you're giving that other people the intel. But from what I've gathered, if you are running Ghost, you do stay off of the normal Bird's Eye blips that come up. However, if a player had, like us, let's say, had Bird's Eye, popped a UAV, that UAV would be like supercharged and ghosted players would then be revealed. So just when we thought perks were getting ironed out or fixed, we're now in this messy situation. Raven hasn't even acknowledged, like, is this a feature or a bug? Is this how Bird's Eye is really meant to be run? Or what the fuck's going on here?
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think I don't think that's what Bird's Eye is supposed to be doing, right? No, this is definitely a glitch, or is it kind of a question now?
It's totally up for question because, I mean, the descriptions they have in there, those were based off, like, how they work in, multiplayer. But for Warzone, there's kind of this gray area of, like, I guess I found out, like, the one, it's like the last stand one. In multiplayer, it allows you to be in a down state when you get shot and basically before you die. But in Warzone, there's no need for that. Everyone gets that. You get downed. Well, so what happened, I guess, if you run a perk package with that, is you just get a self-revive as soon as you get your loadout. So, like, that's the way they have it work for Warzone. So it's unclear for perks in terms of how they're intended to work in Warzone.
Interesting. Yeah, I wonder if I mean, that would be an insane perk if that's the way it's supposed to be used, right?
Yeah.
That would be such a meta, unbelievable broken perk that you basically have a easy UAV around you every time somebody on the map pops or near you pops.
Not even that,
crazy.
it's an advanced essentially, because you don't just see a ping, you see the circle and their little nose looking around.
It is an advanced. It's not basically, it is. It totally is, right? I guess, well, does it show ghosted people? That's, I guess, the differentiation.
Well, I covered that. If you pop a UAV and you have Bird's Eye, the theory is that you do see ghosted players on those specifically.
Got it. Okay. Wow. Crazy shit.
So, yeah, unfortunately, you got to fight fire with fire. So if you're out there, the strong recommend here from the Warzone Amateur Hour, from the Tron, from the 10-inch is to run either Ghost or Bird's Eye as your perk package. The Bird's Eye perk package is called Recon. I believe it's on the far right when you're scrolling through your options. And then there's 2 options for Ghost, so dealer's choice there. But until this is addressed, that's the way of the game. It is kind of fun to take advantage of, but then, yeah, on the flip side, you got to realize people are doing the same shit to you. So kind of 2 steps forward, 1 step back, shimmy here this week.
Yeah. Interesting. Are there any other large updates, or is it a pretty weak week?
A week. Aside from that, however, encouraging to see. Again, we've been tracking these fucking things. We might as well be their Trello board before they have their stupid Trello board. Because we're finding all the QA shit they need to fix, bringing it to the forefront. The other thing we talked about, lamented, was the loot disappearing. Well, currently the restock public event, which is when all the crates reset, that has been canceled. They said because they're actively working on a fix for loot disappearing, and they believe it's, I guess, tied to that somehow. I haven't noticed loot disappearing late game, so maybe this is like a temporary fix, but that is in the works as well.
That's good. Yeah, that's probably one of the larger, more frustrating issues that we've been seeing, is the loot just absolutely disappearing immediately. It's like, it's totally fucking crazy.
And yeah, now that loadouts are such a big part of the game, and as we've talked about, when you regame late game, you can see them and drop in on them. You're going to need to be shuffling stuff around, and if your shit can't hit the ground, it's lava. That's no good.
It's not ideal. Yeah, it's definitely not ideal.
But, this week, the Tronster really was riding solo quite a bit. I have this motorcycle. It's got this awesome sidecar, and right now, damn, it feels good to have the cowboy beside me. But for the most part, I was driving down, the Pacific Coast Highway by myself, me and my lonesome, playing this game most of the week solo.
Wow, really? Solo? Were you enjoying solo, or is it depressing?
I mean, to me, it's a very pure battle royale experience. It's got a lot of highs and lows. Like, you can't relax throughout. It's weird. But then you get these real dopamine hits throughout. So, I don't know. It's all right. I think it's better than I was enjoying solos in the previous Warzone. But I made it my mission this week to get a solo victory. Was coming close, getting top 10s. But finally, and I alluded to it at the top of this episode. Finally, I got my first solo dub, and I was able to capture the last, I think it was 5 or 15 minutes of it. Unfortunately, half my kills weren't recorded because it's a PlayStation thing. Don't worry about it. But I ended it with 8 kills, got the victory, made a pretty dope play late game, and it was a lot of fun.
That's cool, but no victories.
Yes, I got a solo victory.
Yeah, but did you really? Like, I know you're saying that, but is there a clip?
Yes, it's the latter part of the game. I got 8 kills, but it starts when I've already had 4 kills in.
Oh, and then it goes through the actual victory.
Baby, you can see it all. Okay, so there's evidence. Okay.
Not that I wasn't going to believe you, but I just want to keep it honest here on the Warzone Amateur Hour. We are about integrity.
That's right.
You know?
I appreciate you checking me here. And that said, in terms of integrity, this was even before I knew about this bird's eye shit. So I was running high alert. Wasn't even exploiting this bird's eye thing. Still got a fucking victory in solos.
That's great. Happy for you. Yeah, curious to watch that clip. It's tough to poach people's kills when you're playing solos. I'm curious to see how that worked out for you.
I mean, there's ways to do it, though. You can third party pretty good. It's pretty satisfying, actually.
I don't doubt that you've become an expert in that.
Experted, yeah. But, I mean, the strategy for solos is so different, I feel like, than the whole other team configs. Like, to me, I think you really got to creep edge of gas. I don't know. It's a weird mixture. You kind of got to get lucky, too. I was playing insanely conservative late. I didn't even realize it was 1v1 until pretty late. Me and this guy had been playing like a cat and mouse game for minutes. But still got it. There's no room for error. People are ratty as hell. You kind of want to use like heartbeats and stuff. I encourage you, though, if you got the time to kill, to run some of that. Because that is, I think, the purest way to improve your skills. But I don't know.
Yeah, I bet. What was the final when it was 1v1? What happened? Did you snipe him? Did you just sneak up on him? Was it just a lucky shootout? What happened?
So I knew he was in the building and I was outside of it. So we kind of had finagled around. Eventually I figured out a way to climb onto the roof of the building and then really waited for the gas. He came out. I was on top of him, dropped down, Fennec, close range, deleter. Wasn't even really close. It felt good.
Good. That is good and exciting. Very exciting.
But that said, before I had the balls, or whatever you want to call it, to really dive into solos, to get going, I was like, you know what? What do I want to level? What do I want to do in this multiplayer mode? And you really had sold me on the Signal 50. And I think I even picked one up off a dead body and really got to experience it for the first time. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to level that. So that's exactly what I did. I went into Shipment, played Shipment 24/7 until I not only max leveled my Signal 50, but I also hopped over to the Victus to unlock like the barrel that's recommended. So I have a meta Signal 50 build. When I have a backpack now in Warzone 2, I am officially a snipey boy like you.
Wow. You're a snipey boy. You think it's going to change your life forever, or is it just kind of out of necessity?
It's a game changer. I understand the joy. And I mean, you can hear it here, listeners. Like he just perked up there. The excitement level went up. I don't think you realized when we just played a round ago, I had my Signal 50 out. I was making snipes with you.
What? You were?
Yeah.
I didn't hear any. He's down. Headshot. I didn't hear anything like that.
I was cracking. I didn't get any downs.
Yeah. Okay.
And I play conservative with the Signal 50. Like I kind of only whip it out when I'm like, you got the prey in sight in the distance. When in doubt, I kind of still stick with the RPK. But yeah, it's the 3-weapon system. That's one of the things I think they really nailed in this game. And just having that in your arsenal. I'm not ready to like fully commit and be like a sniper support, sniper 2-gun kind of guy, but it's now in my repertoire here.
Good. I'm happy. I mean, that's a game changer. That's really big.
And I'm curious to get your thoughts, because one thing to me that was actually really surprising in leveling and unlocking this is running snipers in Modern Warfare, particularly on Shipment, it was a shitload of fun with the caveat that you had to swap the optic. I just threw on like a basic red dot onto my Signal 50, and then you're just one-shotting people. I was actually having a lot of fun with that.
Hell yeah. It is fun, isn't it?
Yeah, and I remember when we were, grinding before Warzone 2 dropped, you guys were like exclusively running like the SPR and all that, and I'm thinking like, what are these guys doing? Now I understand it a bit, and even on shipment, and with an XP token, I was able to max this gun quick, but kind of almost wanted to like stick around and keep sniping fools. So if you're out there, you're looking to level a sniper, or even get that SPX, which has like 4 steps. That's my recommendation. Shipments, of course, since the date of this recording, has now been removed, or at least shipment 24/7. But still, sniping a multiplayer, if you adjust the reticle, can be fun, or the optic.
Yeah. I 100% agree. It's a great time. That's what I love to do. I'm surprised to taking you this long to get there, but happy you are.
Okay, well, maybe I've seen you struggle a bit and the success.
Wow, no, you mean?
Oh,
no.
Oh, okay.
Headshots every time.
Okay.
5 bullets, 5 deaths.
Well, that said, speaking of optics, I made a switcheroo with that in the Warzone as well for my AR/LMG. And kind of was not introduced, or I don't know, like somebody led me to the door of that. And that was our old friend of the podcast, a 37-year-old dad. I played some duos with him. He told me he's running this like SZ. It's like a holographic hybrid scope. It's basically like a red dot square kind of box reticle, but you can alternate between like normal see-through and then like a thermal. And so he recommended that. I tried it out in the firing range, and for me personally, not the best fit, but there was another SZ optic. It's called like the SZ Lone Wolf, I believe. I am now switched from the AIM OP to that. I'm really liking that for my long range AR/LMG.
Yeah. Good. So is that you got that max loaded and leveled and all that bullshit?
I mean, it's just an optic, and I think you get it. It was like you had to get the M4 to like level 2, so everybody has it. The reticle is kind of weird. It's like a half circle on the lower part and then a red dot in the middle. You can't customize the reticles, I've noticed, like you could in Warzone 1, unless I'm missing something. So that's kind of the only downside, but it has way less bounce. It has less zoom, but I'm encouraging you out there, like, don't be slaves to these meta ranking and stuff. People are still figuring shit out, and there are so many attachments in this game. There's room to explore. So if you're not that happy with the AIM OP, maybe check out this SZ what is it, fucking Lone Wolf? You don't have the answer, so okay.
I have no idea.
All right. Well, that said, final topic here is we got a question from a listener on Discord. The listener's name on Discord is Walnuts.
Nice.
And he, if for those of you who aren't part of our Discord, get the fuck on there. We do have a section channel where you can, post your podcast questions like this person did. And most of the time we will answer them. And he said, can you please talk about ways to improve or ways to learn how to improve?
That's the question.
Yeah.
Ways to improve. You're asking the wrong guys first. I think that's the first fucking thing. Ways to improve, hit your shots, don't miss the bodies. And then once you start dialing in and hitting the bodies, aim for the head. That's going to help you kill them quicker.
Wow.
That's a masterclass right there from the 10-Inch Cowboy.
All right. I thought about this once I logged it. I'm like, what am I even going to say? Wasn't sure, but over the course of recording this today, I came upon one idea, and that is to play fucking solos. Because if you can excel in solos, like that is the pure test of a man. It's mono e mono. You don't got anybody to save your ass if you're down. You got to make quick decisions. You got to treat every kind of building like it's hot, So that's my recommendation. Number 2 is to ADS way more than you think you do, because Seems like in this game, the guy who has their sights up first, sees the other guy first, damn near is going to win the gunfight most of the time. It ain't like one of these old games where you're going to have to master like, oh, be able to play with fucking sensitivity on 200. You know, I don't know. That's where I'm at.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I think that's pretty good. Yeah, play solos. Just try not to suck, you know? Make your shots.
I think
hit the head.
I think having intention too, like patience with the trigger, I've noticed is the thing. Like so many times the guy, you know, sprays out the whole load of clip and they got to reload. You're done. But the guy that waited a little bit, picked his shots, made sure he didn't pull the trigger until he was positive the reticle was on the other guy, they're going to do better. Especially, I think, in the gulag is where I've noticed that. Like, I'm having to not just at the guy, like, make sure I'm going to fucking hit my shots.
Yeah, I agree.
Wow. Well, Cowboy, sounds like you're erupting
perplexed.
with.
I have a lot of clearly I have a lot of thoughts on how to get better.
The master
you just have to you have to put in basically, like, to get better quickly, you have to put in a couple thousand hours of gameplay, and then you'll find yourself getting a little bit better and understanding what it is this game. You know, we have, I think this is our 112th episode, so we have, you know, about 100 hours or so of material you can listen to that you should probably listen to every one of those episodes to get you ready to play. I would listen to the entire catalog of our series. And then I would take a step inside. Yeah, so spend the next month or two just listening to the podcast and then start playing.
And take copious notes. Leave us a review on Spotify or Apple or wherever you get your podcasts. Like, subscribe, check out our YouTube page. But yeah, and I think there's a tip that I've talked about when you do listen to our catalog. You'll hear me mention it, so I can fucking be sure this is true. As like Z Laner said, it's like, if you want to get better at this game, you need to get into as many engagements and gunfights as you can. That's how you improve. You don't improve by playing scared, by shying away from shit, by dropping in deep and hiding in a fucking building and hoping you play it out. No, go drop Observatory or wherever. You know, get those bounties, hunt them down. You're going to lose and die and all that, but that's where the meat and potatoes are made in my book.
I agree, yeah. It's a potato and meat situation.
It's a mental thing, too. You start to just change your outlook on the game, which I think playing solos has been the same way. Like, I am more comfortable now pushing someone in a building or one-on-oneing by playing that than, you know, prior to this week. I don't know, though. Maybe it's short-lived and, you know, I'm going to keep getting my ass kicked this coming week. We'll see.
Yeah, basically, it's like, you're right. Something switches where for a long time, you're like, oh God, I'm scared. Oh no, I'm going to die. And then at some point, it's like, where you going, you little bitch?
Yep.
You know, and then you become the predator.
Yeah, and I mean, now you got this bird's eye. You can see where someone is. Like, okay, let's get these motherfuckers.
Exactly. So that's the best advice we can give.
Yeah.
Stop being a little bitch.
And there's a second, and I think multiplayer too. I mean, if you want to get better at aiming, reaction, toe-to-toe stuff, handling that's you're gonna be hundreds and hundreds of kills in a matter of, you know, 15 minutes, whereas you could play a whole 40-minute Warzone game, get 2 kills. I don't know if you're really getting that much from it. So that's where we're at. Also, you know, watch good players, see what they're doing. But there was a second part of this question, Cowboy, which maybe, you know, I know you had a lot to share about the last component of the question, but he says also, can you discuss differences between unclear and precise communication in Warzone?
Yeah, I like to think that I'm a great communicator. I think that you can be piss poor at times, and I think the difference is that when someone says, the first thing is that people will be like, they'll be like, over there, and it's like, what the fuck does that mean, over there? Or it's like, on me. It's like, what color are you? What do you mean on you? I don't know exactly where you are. I'm not seeing what you see. Stop thinking about yourself so much to realize there's other people in a whole nother world out there, and stop being so fucking selfish.
Wow.
So what I like to do is I'll like think about what color I am or what number I am, and then I'll let everyone know, like, oh, on 4, shit like that, you know? And I do that very consistently and regularly, and I think it helps the team. So yeah, I mean, I would probably suggest that. I don't know if you have anything to say on this, Tron.
Well, I am no, I'm not surprised to hear you say that you perceive me as a poor communicator. Because anyone who's watched you play or played with you, here's Cowboy in the 90% of his comms when there's like a gunfight going on. Where? Oh, wait, what? Oh, where? You're like a fucking child. Like the house is on fire.
Exactly, because you're like, on me, over there. And I'm like, where? I'm trying to save
Everyone
you.
else on the team understands where like me is, how to find me, or like where I'm fighting guys. Like today we were just playing, I literally we knew where the fucking two guys were. I went down to push them like, I don't know where you're looking. You're got your fucking head on a swivel or something. But that said, I try to always, if it's not in the heat of a battle, I always try to accompany when I say something with like a ping. It's tough because in this game, pinging is very inconsistent sometimes.
Yeah, that has not helped this at all. But yeah.
But like the Cowboy said, I mean, it kind of goes to the question itself, is you got to use specific language, objective language, make it easy, utilize multiple types of pings. You know, live pings are a huge asset in this game for showing where somebody is. Somebody sees a moving ping, it makes it pretty easy. But yeah. And I think less is more. Like, you know, if you're not going to give them that good of information, don't say something like, oh, they're in the tall building. Like, just ping it first and then say, okay, I'm pinged where they're at. I don't know. So that's really it. That we can, you know, I'm going to keep this in my mind here, Mr. Walnuts, but we appreciate your question, sir or madam. You know, maybe we'll wax more on this or it'll come to pass. It'll make me think more about my communication and how I get better, but that's really it. So my recommendation is everyone out there, get your ass on the game. Let's, you know, run that shit, get the stuff dialed in, change the perk packages, maybe play with your optic, get it going, get the communication, the pings, everything going.
Yeah. Well, let's do it.
All right. Well, that is going to do it for us this week on the Warzone Amateur Hour podcast. Again, still waiting patiently for the Season 2 update. Hopefully a lot of fixes are in store, but we'll take what they've given us so far and run with it. So that's said, from me, Cowboy has nothing to add because he's got to get out of here. We will wrap up. We will talk to you all next week. And until then,
good luck in the gulag.